Hi, I'm Mike, founder of GoodBed.com. One thing that we get asked about more and more these days is adjustable bases. So today we're going to show you the DreamCloud Adjustable Base, which is a popular add-on for the DreamCloud mattress, but also just a popular adjustable base in general. We're going to take you through all the features, functionality, and also show you what it takes to put this thing together. We're excited to show it to you. Stick around. All right, so with any adjustable base, really the central functionality lives around the elevation features. And in this case, you can actually elevate both the foot and the head at the same time, as you can see here. This is, by the way, not as high as the head goes or as high as the foot goes, but just showing you what it looks like when both are elevated at the same time. All of that is controlled through the remote that comes with the base. Through this remote, you can independently control the head, raising it and lowering it. You can independently control the feet, raising those and lowering those. You can also raise and lower them at the same time. And then on top of that, there's actually 6 preset buttons that will take you to a specific position. One of those, 2 of those, in fact, are kind of locked into specific positions because they're very practical and useful. One of those is what's called a flat button. So pretty self-explanatory. If you press that button, it'll take you all the way to a flat position in one click of the remote. And there's a second one that is called the anti-snore position. That too is a preset fixed position that basically elevates just the head a little bit to help relieve snoring and open up the passageways in your throat. So those two positions are super handy and sort of set. But then there's 4 other preset buttons that you can use to program to whatever positions you find to be most frequently used. So one of them is a complete kind of free safety wildcard called M. You can set that to whatever you want. Then they have the 3 others that come programmed to a certain position that they thought would be potentially useful, but you can change it if you prefer. So 0G is a position that they have preset to having just the head and the foot elevated just a little bit to kind of relieve a little bit of pressure under that lower back area. Then they have a reading position and a TV position as well. Obviously, those are more elevated in the head than you would have in the 0G position. But again, all of those can be tweaked and customized, and you don't have to use them for reading or TV at all. Whatever it is that you want to save as a handy one-click position, you can set that simply by holding the flat button and the button that you're looking to program at the same time. Once you've gotten the base into the position you want, you just hold those 2 buttons at the same time until the remote flashes, and now you've saved a new position for that button. So the next main set of features of this base are the massage features. This is a base that has 2 massage motors, one under the head of the mattress and one under the foot of the mattress. And you can control them independently or you can control them together. So essentially they each have 7 speeds in total, which you can cycle through simply by pressing the head button multiple times to control the speed of the head motor and pressing the foot button multiple times to control the foot motor. If you just press the head button once, it will activate only the head motor. If you just press the foot button once, it will activate only the foot motor. But if you press the head plus foot button, it will activate both. And then you'll still be able to use the head and foot buttons to control the speeds of the 2 motors independently. So even when they're operating together, you can still customize, how fast you want or how intense you want the vibrations and the massage feature to be in the head and the foot separately. Obviously, when you're wanting to turn these massage features off, you use the off button, but by default, these work on a timer, which again, by default, when you turn these features on, is a 10-minute timer. So that's when you turn the features on, it will automatically be working on the presumption that this will run for 10 minutes and then it will stop automatically. So which is nice because then you can just kind of fall asleep with this on and not have it running all night. If you want the timer to run longer, there's 3 settings, 10, 20, and 30. So you just press the timer button to cycle up from 10 to 20 and press it again to go from 20 to 30. If you press it again, it will just turn the massage off. And then the other massage feature that they have here is there's 3 wave modes. Wave meaning that it's different kind of cycling back and forth between the head and foot. So the first wave mode is kind of a pulse mode. It's got 5 pulses in the head, then 5 pulses in the foot, kind of going back and forth between the two. The other two are a little bit more gradual. They're sort of moving, changing intensities and moving back and forth between the two motors to create a little bit more of a wave-like sensation. So you could cycle through those by using the mode button, and it will start with the pulse, and then it will move to the next wave mode, and then the next wave mode with each additional click of the mode button. And again, when you click that mode button the 4th time, it will basically turn the massage feature off. So that's pretty much the massage features, and all of those can be controlled both through the remote and through the app. Now, in terms of using these features and the experience, sometimes people want to know, what does it feel like? I mean, is it really a massage, or is it really more vibrations? Well, it is vibrations. I mean, that's kind of how these motors work. So it's not going to feel, like a Swedish massage, but it is relaxing, a sensation that's created by the vibrations that has kind of a relaxing massage-like feeling to it in the sense. In terms of another thing people want to know about is the noise. And by the way, I should have mentioned one thing that is nice about this base when we elevate it, and I can just show you here, I'm changing the head, and I'm quite sure you can't hear very much noise coming through here because there really isn't, and this is the foot. So it is a very quiet base moving these elevation features. And likewise with the massage, I'd say it's pretty quiet as well, particularly the foot. All the 7 settings on the foot, I'm cycling through them right now. This is 4, 5, 6. This is the highest. Maybe you can pick up a little of that noise at the very highest level, but overall the foot is very quiet. The head, likewise, it's running at the first level of intensity now. This is the 2nd level. Very quiet. By the time you get to 3rd or 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, maybe you pick up a little of that noise there, but not an intense amount of noise, but a little bit, such that maybe if someone walked in the room, they might notice that there's some kind of a vibrating noise, whereas at the lower levels, they probably wouldn't even pick up on it. So overall, pretty quiet massage features. I find it pretty relaxing. I like actually kind of the middle, like the 3rd or 4th level of intensity seems like the most relaxing for me. But you can play around with it and find what works best for you. All right, so now we're going to get into some of the more aesthetic types of questions here that we get about adjustable bases, but it's not just about the form, it's also the function as it relates to this being kind of a piece of furniture that's going to be part of your bedroom. Let's start with height. We've got this thing set on the tallest height that it goes to, but it comes with adjustable legs. Essentially, like the legs have 3 components, each of them, that can screw together to create a taller leg. So we have all 3 screwed together to create the tallest possible leg, but those 3 components are 8 inches, 3 inches, and 2 inches. So if you add all that together, that's a 13-inch leg, which is what we have it set at. And that creates, when you screw that into the base and then you have the platform on top of that, it's essentially like a 17, 18-inch platform that your mattress is sitting on. So then the total height of the mattress would be 17 to 18 inches plus whatever the thickness of your mattress is. So that again is the highest setting that these legs accommodate, but obviously pretty much you can use any configuration of those leg heights to create a lower platform if this is too tall for you. In fact, this is a 0 clearance base, which means that none of the machinery, as you elevate the base, the head, or the foot, dips below the level of the bottom of the frame. So that means that you could actually put this on the ground, technically speaking, and it would still function as it should. And obviously, if you wanted to put this on, say, a platform, like say you already have a bed that has a platform, you can basically take the legs off completely and place this right on the platform and use it, and it will work exactly the same as what we're showing you here. In fact, they even say that you could put this on a slatted base. Some people have a bed or a headboard that has slats going across, and you can place the frame on those slats. They have some non-skid pads that you can place on the bottom of the frame. You make sure those pads line up with slats, and apparently this base will work that way as well. Personally, I'm not sure I would want to use it that way. I think I'd rather just take the slats out and slide this directly into, meaning slide by slide, I mean place it directly into the bed frame, because these legs are kind of underneath the center of the frame, or they're not like right at the edges. They're a little bit more under the center, so you could just take the slats out, drop this right in, and I'd rather have it be supported by the legs than have it be supported by the slats, personally. Or you could put a piece of plywood across the slats and create essentially a platform. That would work too. But nonetheless, the point is you have a lot of options here in terms of how you can use this in connection with any bedroom furniture you might already have, like a bed frame or a sleigh bed or what have you, because it is designed to just drop right in to an existing piece of furniture like that. And just one other note about a benefit of zero clearance is that also maximizes the amount of storage capacity that you have under the bed. So sometimes people want to know how big of a box could I slide under there if I wanted to store things under the bed. Well, the answer in this case is pretty much the thickness of whatever thickness of legs you choose, or sorry, whatever height of legs you choose is pretty much the thickness of the box that you could put under there. So if you have the 13-inch tallest possible legs, then a 12.5-inch box will slide right in and out pretty easily. If you have the 8-inch legs, maybe a 7.5-inch box, but you're not going to have to worry about, with some bases, you do have to worry about the machinery dipping below the level of the leg, the top of the leg, in which case having a box there would not work. So that's another benefit of the zero clearance. And just finally, the last thing I wanted to add about how this is going to interface with maybe other bedroom furniture you have is that for those of you who are interested in connecting this to a headboard, there is a headboard bracket that you can attach to this base that will connect the base to a headboard. It's sold separately, so just make sure that if that's something of interest, that you make sure you go ahead and buy that as well. Another nice feature of this base is that they've got 4 USB ports built right into the base, 2 on each side. So obviously you're going to plug this base itself into the wall to give it power, but then you don't have to plug any of your phones or other chargers into the wall. You can just plug those USB cables directly into the base to charge them. And one of the nice things about the design of how they've placed the USB ports, again, 2 on each side of the bed, but they're recessed a little bit underneath the frame here. So this head is going to be moving up and down. You're going to basically plug these in, but this, you see here, this is the only part. Let's say you had this base dropped into a sleigh bed or other big piece of furniture, it wouldn't cause any problems. As the base head gets raised and lowered, you're not going to have anything sticking out of the side that could hit the furniture or rub against the furniture or anything like that. All that's going to happen is this cord is sticking out, and that's not going to damage anything. So it's a nice design to have that recessed while you have the access to the USB cables. All right, so we've talked a little bit about the various features of the bed that are controlled through this remote, but we haven't talked about the remote itself, which is kind of just a nice, sleek little white design with pretty big buttons, easy to use. One thing that's nice is that the remote is backlit, so you press a single button and then all the buttons light up, makes it easy to see in the dark. Speaking of the dark, there's also something on here called just a flashlight, and you basically hold it down and it will create a nice little beam of light right out the top of the remote. So if you wanted to get up in the middle of the night, you just kind of have a built-in flashlight at the ready by grabbing your remote, and you can light your pathway out of the bedroom. There's also a child lock button on this remote, so if you need to lock the base or make it so it can't be raised or lowered for any reason, you can just press that button. And the other thing we wanted to mention here is that in addition to this remote, all of the same elevation and massage features that we showed you can be controlled through the app. One thing to note, it's important, is in the literature we received, it instructed us to download an app called Resident Home. That was not the app we needed here. It was actually called the Resident Adjustable Bed app. So just be careful of that. But once you have the right app and you've paired it to the base, you can elevate the foot, you can elevate the head, all these same features, and you can also control the massage and raise the different speeds. You can stop it, all that stuff. So it's a pretty intuitive little app. It's essentially like having an additional remote control. So if there's two of you in bed, one of you can have the remote, one of you can have the app. For that matter, both of you could have the app. Think of it even as an additional remote if you lose yours. So that app is just a nice little additional feature to have here to control this base. Now, I should note that we did have a little bit of a problem with pairing. When I first tried to pair my phone to this base, I ended up calling the support line, and they were super fast to answer and actually help us get the problem resolved. For those of you who are interested, it may or may not prove relevant. This may be something that will change in the app, but ultimately what we needed to do is follow a very specific sequence with the Bluetooth pairing. It was to unplug the base from the wall, plug it back in. There's a little Bluetooth connector underneath the base that you want to be close to as you're doing all of this. But basically, as you plug it back in, that little light on there will start out being blue for about 20 seconds, then it will turn to green. At the point it turns green, then you want to double click this button right next to that light. Again, this is all under the base. That will then activate pairing, but not yet. Basically what it does is it turns that light blue again for another 20 seconds or so. And once it turns green, that second time is when you can then pair. At least that was our experience, and that ended up being the silver bullet that worked for us, in case that's helpful. All right, now let's talk a little bit about delivery, return policy, and warranty, which are going to be a concern or of interest anytime you're buying anything online. Starting with delivery, this by default comes in a cardboard box delivered through UPS or some standard carrier like that. It comes folded in half, so it's half the size of a queen size footprint. In queen size, it weighs about 144 pounds, that box. We're going to show you the actual setup process later in the video, but the setup is relatively simple. It took us about 15 minutes to do. The real challenge is maneuvering the box, which is quite heavy and awkward, as well as flipping this thing over, which takes at least 2 people. Both of those take at least 2 people. So it's more of a, if you don't have a second person, or if you feel like even for the 2 people you have, lifting that kind of weight might be difficult, they do offer a white glove option that you can pay extra for, where someone will actually come and set it up for you with the delivery. So that's the delivery. The return policy, normally on adjustable bases, we don't see return policies. In this case, at least currently, DreamCloud is offering a 50-night trial. So you can actually try this base and have 50 days to return it if you don't like it for whatever reason. And lastly, in terms of the warranty, there's a 3-year total warranty on this DreamCloud adjustable base, and it's divided into 3 phases, which is a pretty typical construct for an adjustable base warranty. The first phase covers the first year of ownership, during which time everything is covered if anything is to go wrong with the base, meaning any of the parts that might be needed to repair the base, as well as any labor that might be required. In the second year, all of the parts are covered, but not the labor. And in the third year, some of the parts are covered, really just the structural ones, the ones that are part of the structural support of the base, so the frame and so forth, and the legs, but not the electronics. So that's basically the way the 3-year warranty works. And then I should also mention that an adjacent point sometimes people ask us about is, what is the weight limit of this base? And in this case, it is 1,000 pounds in total, which includes the weight of the mattress as well as any sleepers on top of the mattress. So you're going to want to make sure that you do stay underneath that, because if you put, say, 1,200 pounds or something more than that on the mattress, more than 1,000 pounds, then you would be essentially voiding the warranty here. All right, so one of the things we want to do as part of this video is just give you a sense of what to expect when this adjustable base arrives. This is something that you can pay for an extra service to have it actually delivered via white glove and have it actually unboxed and assembled for you. But for those of you who want to do this yourselves, this is the process that you're going to go through. It's going to arrive in a box exactly like this one. This box, by the way, weighs about 144 pounds. As you can see, it's pretty big. It's probably 3+ feet in this direction and longer, certainly 4 or more in this direction, and maybe 6 to 8 inches thick, and just generally pretty awkward given the fact that it is so heavy. Even for 2 people to maneuver this, it's a little tricky. So just be aware of that. But I'm going to just give you the overview of what it's like to assemble it, which is actually probably more straightforward than just getting it to your bedroom. So you're going to start with it just laying out like this, and I haven't gone through this process before either, so I'm going to go through it for the very first time, just like you would. Here we go. Okay, so this is obviously the first step here, was just kind of getting it out of the box. I did that by myself, but obviously it would have been a little easier if there were two people involved. And you want to have it just kind of set up in your room with the foot in the right end and the head in the right end and upside down, just like we have it here. That's kind of step one. And then here are the directions, and of course the legs, that's going to be what I open up next. Okay, so that was basically step two, putting the legs on and then flipping it over. Obviously, flipping it over is definitely a two-person job. You might even want a third person to help you get this over. You don't want to be resting this on its side. You don't want to be having the legs bearing the weight of this at some kind of an angle. That would be not a good situation and could damage the base. So be careful with that one little maneuver, but overall, we're only about 10 or so minutes into this total process at this point, and we already got the base upright. Now, notice I did not cut the zip ties. The frame underneath this base is kind of held together with some zip ties just to kind of keep the metal parts from clanking around during transport. I also left those things tied while we did the flip over. So that's probably a good maneuver to do it that way. But now that will be my next step. All right, so we've now cut all the zip ties. I think the next step here is just going to be to plug it in and see if it works. Let's see if it works. Head's going up, foot goes up. There we go. Our adjustable base is ready to use. Last step will be, once I get the mattress on there, I will also, actually I can even add this now, just this retainer bar slips right in here, and this is what holds the mattress in place while the adjustable base is, being raised and lowered. All right, so there you have it, the features and functionality of the DreamCloud Adjustable Base. We hope you found that to be a helpful overview. For more helpful information, particularly about how to find the right mattress for you, as well as how to find related accessories like adjustable bases, go to GoodBed.com. In the meantime, we thank you for watching, and we really hope you sleep well.